And here you go, an easy dozen. Your tortillas are nice, foldable, they're not gonna crack. One of the things that we are gonna share is that if you have your pan way too hot, you're gonna crisp up your tortillas. And this is just me being extra to prove to you that you can get soft tortillas even without your baking soda. Hello and welcome back to Views on the Road. I'm your host Steph, and today I'm gonna show you how to make the easiest flour tortillas from scratch. If you think I can't make tortillas, I've tried it, this recipe is going to be your go-to recipe, because if I can do it, you can do it better. And before I start this recipe, I want to let all the gentlemen on the channel know that I'm aware that you're there. I sometimes get excited because I'm very vintage. I usually hang around with the ladies and talk to the ladies, but the more you guys talk to me and let me know in the comments that you're there, the more I'm going to remember you. So I hope you forgive me, and that's the reason why I'm making you tortillas today. Now let's go over the ingredients. For this delicious recipe, you'll need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, plus a little extra for dusting, half a cup of lard, 1 cup of room temperature water, and 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to start out by fluffing our flour so that we can get the exact amount that we need. Once you fluff it up, you're going to clear the top just like that. You can place it into your bowl. I'm using coarse sea salt, but if you're using table salt, you're going to stick to 1 teaspoon. I noticed that when I use this salt, which I get at the Korean market in a big bag, I tend to use about 1.5 teaspoons. So it's going to be up to you on how salty you want your tortillas, because if your salt is not perfect in your tortillas are not going to shine through with your family. So add your salt to your flour. Give that a loving mix. Now for your lard, my tip to you is try to find morel. If you don't have morel, go with Crisco. And if all you have is Armour, don't make them. The Armour lard, every time I've used it, it made my dough beyond sticky to the point where I couldn't blend anything. So please be mindful to yourself, be kind to yourself, because sometimes it's not you, sometimes it's the products that you're using. And if all else fails, go ahead and use butter. You'll be okay with that. They come out extra fluffy when you use butter. I am going to say, learn to make this without having to use any of your extra dishes in your home. And what I mean by that is that once you measure your cup, you're going to measure it to your hand. So once you have it to your hand, you can kind of eyeball about how much you need. So it's going to be give or take maybe a tablespoon, but it's not going to make a huge difference to where you're going to fail your tortillas. And now it's time to start dissolving our lard into our flour, and I start by squeezing a little bit at a time. And this part right here should only take you about 1.5 minutes to 2. And once you combine your lard into your flour, you're going to get this texture, almost like a crumble, but falls apart a lot softer. Nothing sticks. Even when you see these big chunky little balls, they fall apart. That's when you're ready to add your room temperature water. I'm going to start by adding half. And I'm going to start hydrating our flour. I'm going to pour half of what I have remaining. After you add all of your water, you're going to notice that your flour is nice and hydrated, because it looks almost like oatmeal sticky. Not to worry. That's what we need. Because if your flour is not hydrated, you get really stiff tortillas, and you don't want that. You want nice, fluffy, delicious tortillas. I'm going to dust my counter with about 1/4 of a cup of flour. And I'm going to use both of my hands to knead the flour until it's smooth. These days, it takes me about 4 to 5 minutes. And give or take, after 4 minutes, my dough is nice and smooth, nothing sticks. Some of you might need to knead it an extra few minutes just to get it this soft. I so happen to have a heavy hand and been doing this for a long time. So if it's not smooth after 4 or 5 minutes, not to worry. Just knead it until it's nice and smooth, just like this. Once you have a nice ball, you're going to get a little bit of your lard. Warm it up in your hands. You're going to cover it. You're gonna place it back into your bowl. And today I'm gonna kick it old school with you guys. I'm gonna use a damp cloth. Make sure to wring out all the water, and then you're gonna cover. And now you want to allow your dough to rest in the warmest spot in your kitchen. That doesn't mean leave it outside for the sun to hit it completely, but I'm going to place it in my oven at 0 degrees with the light on, just so it's nice and warm while our flour combines and just gets perfect for us to do our next step. It's been 15 minutes and our dough is nice, soft, and ready for us to make into little balls. Look at how soft our dough is. It's just beautiful. You see that? And now you want to start making little balls. These days I don't stress it to be perfect. I just make the balls the size of my hands, and that seems to work. This is the softest dough that I've worked with based on the measurements. And I know that if it's soft enough for me, it's going to be amazing to you guys. Give or take, you're going to end up with 10 to 12 tortillas. It's going to vary with the size of your hands and the way that you shaped your balls. Often you share with me that your tortillas look like maps, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. Take a little bit of lard, warm it up in your hands. Tap all of your little balls so they don't dry up in the process. And you're going to start rolling them up. And what I mean by rolling them up, it's smoothing them out. And when you roll your tortillas, you get a smoothness over the top so that whenever you're stretching your tortillas and making them round, they stay rounder than the map of your state. Okay, I'm not poking fun. I'm just listening to what you guys tell me. And when you feel that you've already used all the lard from your hands on your tortillas, you can do a little bit more. You know, warm it up and keep it going. For those of you that have ailments or arthritis and your hands hurt, not to worry. That's what the kids are here for you to pass down the recipe and show them how to make tortillas. Just be patient. They're learning. You see this little bubble here? That means that you kneaded your dough to perfection. These are going to be the softest, stretchy tortillas that you will ever make. And now we're going to allow them to rest for 5 minutes. And while you're resting your dough that second time, you want to get your cast iron started, or wherever you're going to be making your tortillas. I currently have this set on a medium-high heat so that when I come with my tortillas, I can lower the temperature because it has to be just right to get the perfect Sonoran-style tortillas. It's been about 5 minutes and we're going to get started unrolling our tortillas. I like to take a little bowl and put some all-purpose flour, give it a press, turn it over, give it a press, and any excess, I dust it on my counter. This dough is so easy that I don't need to do the old school way for the ends. I just go around like this, and look at that. Nice and round. And now you're going to start rolling your tortilla. I like to make it into a sandal because it makes it for a nicer round shape for you, especially if you're a beginner. Gives you a point of reference. And I'm not pressing hard, it's just a light hand. This masa is so stretchy that you'll end up with a lot of folds because it's that pliable. And right here, I'm just reshaping it to make sure that we guarantee ourselves a round tortilla, and then I continue to stretch. I was making salsa, so excuse the cilantro. You see all these folds? That's because it's so soft. I'm better off just stretching it with my hand at this point. So just reshape it into the roundness that you love. And remember, your tortillas are not perfect. You're going to grab them, roll them in a burrito or with your guisados. Just as long as the flavor is there, that's a good starting point for you. Okay? Don't worry about being perfect. You'll get there. The more you make tortillas, the more of a pro you're going to be. And then, boom, you're going to make tortillas just like this one day. boom, done. Light and fluffy tortillas every single time. Ooh, that one's hot. Hot fire, so be careful. One of my favorite things about Sonoran tortillas, it's how thin and light they are, okay? They're not gonna lay heavy on your stomach. It is just a perfect combination for your guisados, your stews. They're so thin, you can see the pattern straight through the tortilla. Look at that. And here you go, an easy dozen. Your tortillas are nice, foldable, they're not gonna crack. One of the things that we are gonna share is that if you have your pan way too hot, you're gonna crisp up your tortillas. And this is just me being extra to prove to you that you can get soft tortillas even without your baking soda. I grew up not using it, and this is no different for me. So it should be super easy for you guys to get your tortillas done. And even the way that I folded them for you right now, you can just put them back together and no problems at all. For those of you that want to keep your tortilla balls for meal prep, I would suggest you press them like this and you place them in a bowl so that they don't overlap each other. You can use a wax paper and continue the same process. Cover it and place it in your refrigerator. But before you start using them, you have to take them out and keep them at room temperature for about 30 minutes so that you can get a good stretch. If you try to stretch your tortillas right out of your refrigerator, it's going to be too cold and it's going to defeat the purpose of some delicious tortillas. And they're going to last you a good week, if not two, in your refrigerator because you have the lard. There's nothing that's going to ruin them. The only thing you have to check is for moisture. And if you have too much moisture, then you can put a little piece of a paper towel to absorb it, and you should be set. You can show off any day out of the week if you pre-make these. So if you're going to make a batch, this recipe is good to duplicate or even do like quadruple amounts. It's such a forgiving recipe, and I'm so excited for you guys to try it. Remember to save your Ziploc bag, wash it, dry it out, and that's going to be just for your tortillas. You want to save on your plastic, and these, honestly, these are so durable, so you want to save them. What I do, I wait until my tortillas are nice and cool, fold them into a taco, and this is just a habit from growing up in a tortilla factory and making tortillas. So if they're too big, you can just keep them that way and seal the deal. Well, that one's a bit larger than the rest. Let's just give it a little scooch. And boom, done. You can place them into your refrigerator. They'll last a good 3 months in there. You know, these tortillas have been to the moon and back, so you guys are going to be good. Just going to add a little bit of butter to my tortilla. And for those of you that it's going to be your first time making tortillas and you're a little bit nervous, let us know in the comments. Cloud and I will catch it. Although I keep to myself a lot these days, it's God, family, and Views Club for me. We'll keep a close eye so that we can help you through your troubles, which this recipe, you're pretty much guaranteed. It's going to boost your ego, okay? And that's okay every once in a while. Just so long as you come from a good place. Now I'm going to need somebody very special that's subscribed to Views on the Road to say ah. Before I take a bite, I do want to share a few tips with you. If your burner is too hot, you're going to have really flaky, crispy tortillas, and they're not going to be soft and pliable. But if your heat is not hot enough, you're not going to cook it within the allowed time to have soft tortillas. So anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds with the right temperature. And as I mentioned, I start heating up my cast iron about 5 minutes on a medium-high heat. And once I cook my first tortilla, I know if I need to lower it or place it a little bit higher. And this is going to take time for you guys to get it done for those of you that are new. But those of you that know how to make tortillas, I think this is going to be your go-to recipe. So please come back and let me know what you think. So good.
Your original love.
My favorite comfort food. You can't go wrong with some tortillas.
What do you have in the back in the Instant Pot?
I have some beans because and lately I've been craving a lot of my comforting foods because I'm on a spiritual journey connecting more and more with God and with my community. So I'm keeping myself healthy and safe. For those of you that are going through a lot, whether you're stressed, your mental health has taken over, try this dozen of tortillas. Be patient with yourselves. And if this is your first time making these, allow yourself 2 hours. If you've made tortillas before, you'll get these done in 45 minutes to 1 hour. So make a double batch for yourself. And enjoy. And boom, done, friends. You will all be able to achieve super soft and fluffy tortillas. Hello and welcome to the View's Kitchen. On today's Help Wednesday, you have been asking me, Steph, how do you make your tortillas so soft and fluffy? Mine's look like a map. Mine's are hard. How do you store them? Well, friends, today we are going to go over how to get these tortillas nice and soft, just like how our family makes it, so that you can make it comfortable for your home. But guess what? We have to go over the ingredients. All-purpose flour, salt, and today I'm using this salty lady right here because this is going to give you the best flavor in your tortillas. Make sure to look in the description area for more details. Lard and warm water. To your all-purpose flour, add your salt. Mix that around. Add your lard. What you want to do with this lard is you want to break it into the flour. I start off by giving it a good squeeze to introduce. And then I start pinching. This should take you about a minute to two, and you just want to make sure that you combine it fully, okay? Until you don't see any of the clumps and it's all incorporated into your flour.
We get a lot of questions about what kind of fat to use in your tortillas. You've explored with a lot of different fats, but I'm not going to say but what can you tell us about the different kinds of fats that you've explored and
that you have to make it comfortable for your home, pretty much. I know that when I use shortening, it gives me a really bad heartburn.
Okay.
And when I use lard, I'm able to process that a lot better.
Okay.
It's going to be up to you, friends.
So you have to experiment with the quantities of the fat?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, if you're using butter, you have to make sure that you work with it little by little. And it might not work out the first time for you, but the second time you're going to know exactly what to do. Because butter sometimes has more water content than we like. Mm-hmm. So it changes a little bit of what you're making. And also for all my friends in Colorado or in high altitude places, you guys know
you need an altitude
girl. Anyways, Cloud, get on point here, okay?
Okay, I love
focus. So what I'm saying, the moisture in here is gonna have a huge difference. So you're gonna have to work this recipe. And I don't want you to think I'm never gonna make it again because it didn't work out the first time. Well, let me tell you, this recipe I'm about to show you is gonna be boom, boom, done. Okay?
And when we were younger, aside from, I'm talking about at home, not at a tortilla factory, because I think people don't know that we actually grew up in one.
Yes, for many, many years. My childhood was spent when I wasn't in school. I was in a tortilla factory.
That's right. And what I was going to say is what many people don't know, that even at home, our moms, you didn't start off by doing these steps. You sat there at a bench and you watched. So your first part of learning is listening and watching a couple of times. So you may have to watch all the tortilla videos that we have until you feel ready to do it.
Yes, that is true. Some of you watched the birria recipe, for example. Thank you all that watched. And you watched it 3 times just till you can get it exact. And the outcome of that was very, very different because you were able to master it. And I think I can walk you through here. And you're going to be very successful with this step that I'm about to give you. So pay attention.
We knew we were ready when your mom said, all right, you're putting in the water.
Yep. This is go time. This is the time where you want to have your hair back. You tell your kids you're not touching anything. You need to have a little buddy there that's going to get anything extra that you need because your hands are going to get sticky, okay? Let me show you the consistency of our flour once you incorporate the lard into the flour, okay? It almost feels like when you're going to do a crumble or like a pie crust and you can make shapes out of it when you squeeze it.
No, that's a good tip.
There you go. So now that you have your flour and your lard combined well, you're gonna make a little well right here, okay? Mm-hmm. You're gonna add your amount of water, not gradually, all at one time.
And again, that's warm water.
Warm water. It's not super hot, it's warm. Did you guys hear me? It's not super hot. You don't wanna cook it. Just warm enough to hydrate it.
Mm-hmm. Like a baby's bottle.
Your water should be about 90 degrees, tends to work for me. And if you see my motion, I have a very heavy hand, friends. Just squeeze. Fold it in and make sure it's nice and sticky and gooey.
Develop your own rhythm too.
Yes. Our bodies are very, very different. You can start with my rhythm until you find your own groove, okay? There is no right and wrong when you're mixing. You just gotta do what works for you. This is an important step, okay, friends? Do you see how it's all hydrated, nice and wet? You're gonna say, Steph, why are you gonna add more water? Let me show you. Add about 2 tablespoons of water. That's also warm water. Right here, you can see how this kind of looks like oatmeal. That gooiness, that's the consistency you want at this moment. It doesn't all have to be completely like that, but on the outsides, you're gonna notice that you have a smooth oatmeal looking dough. Mm-hmm. Look at how sticky that is.
Yep.
It's almost like we're gonna make a piñata. Now this is nice and soft. All this flour is hydrated, and we noticed that if we try to make a tortilla out of this, we wouldn't be able to. So now this is where the part that you're gonna be like, why, Stephanie? Because this is how you make Sonoran style flour tortillas. To this amazing hydrated dough, you're gonna add some of your all-purpose flour. And start mixing it around. Since our water was nice and warm and we hydrated our flour, your mixing time is gonna be a lot less. And to make your life even better, exact measurements are in the description area. Once you incorporate that last bit of flour, you can do 2 things. You can continue to knead your dough for another 8 to 10 minutes until it's not sticky. Or, for those of you that don't have the time or you have certain aches, you can place it into your stand mixer and continue to mix until it doesn't stick to your bowl. You can take it off into the surface, or you can continue to mix in your bowl. You'll be able to do this. After you knead your dough, it should feel supple. It should feel like when you put moisturizer on your cheeks and it's nice and soft and you can feel how light they are and cushiony. You just want to touch your cheeks. That's how your masa should feel. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna lather a little bit of lard on our hands, rub it all over our dough, and we're gonna let it rest for 10 minutes. Now we're gonna make sure that our dough is nice and moisturized so that it doesn't get dry on us, okay? After you lather your dough with the lard and it's nice and soft and it's not gonna dry out on us, we still want it to rest in a warm place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place it in my oven with the light on at 0 degrees, just so it's nice and warm. So just set this in a place in your home where it's nice and warm, okay?
In my bed.
Okay. And after 10 minutes, we have a nice dough that's ready to make into little balls.
Sorry, but I have a question.
What's
from
your
our
question?
viewers.
What's
How
your
do you
question?
know this masa is ready to be formed into a balls?
The longer you let it rest, the better your dough's gonna be for stretching your tortillas. It's just gonna get nice and soft, kind of like this. We kneaded it enough.
So you rested the dough for 10 minutes, which that's how we were taught. But what if someone forgets?
It's okay. There's been times when I've been cleaning or doing the classwork with my kids and I leave it there for about 2 hours. I come back, it's just really nice and soft, and it just gives it a better stretch because it's been there setting, it's warm. So nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna be okay. Now we're gonna make our balls. 60 grams is a great size for your table tortillas or for the small burritos that you guys see us make here on the channel all the time, like the wet burrito. They work great. So just squeeze, squeeze, and about 60 grams is gonna do the trick. So you don't have to have a scale, but if you wanna have a set amount of tortillas, it works. There we go. 60 grams looks like that. And The wonderful part about weighing them is that this makes it fun for the kids. Because you're like, ooh, can I get it this one? This is what I do with my kids so you guys can have a little fun. Come in, squeeze it. And we try to see how close we can get to the 60 grams. Ooh, 61, you guys see that? Mm-hmm. So that's how we have fun in the kitchen. I'm gonna continue to make the rest of these balls, so hang tight.
Yeah, if you make the process fun, kids are more likely to carry on the tradition.
Yeah, anywhere from 60 grams to 63 should be okay. Ooh, yeah.
If you love balls, come through. Just kidding. Not again.
Not again, friends, but yes, we mean it. You're going to end up with anywhere between 2 to 3 dozens, and it'll depend on how much flour you add, depending on your region, okay? There is no perfect way, but you can perfect it and make it comfortable for your home. So what you want to do at this point, you want to lather your hands, and I know more lard, more shortening. Yes, you're going to make the best tortillas anybody has ever had in their life. So make sure to coat them, make them look like they're little Halloween costumes, hair sticking out.
Little ghosts.
Yes. We're gonna start rolling the first 2 balls that we formed, okay? These are the last ones, and you'll always end up with 2 that are a little bit smaller, and I just split them up for the babies. Well, they're not babies, but you know. And all we're gonna do is make them into little balls, okay? See that? Boom, done. Now, if your hands hurt doing that and pinching, you can get 1 by 1. Cup it. Your flat hand.
Get the ball and put it on the ball of your hand.
That's exactly what you do.
Balls on balls.
Balls on balls, friends.
Squared.
Balls and balls everywhere. I don't know how many of your partners are going to walk in when I just said that. I'm sorry, guys, if you walked into that. So you can do it that way or the way that I taught you, okay? If when you're rolling your balls, they feel a little bit dry, just get a little bit more lard and continue. See how smooth that is? Just how you guys see it on my Instagram all the time. If you have a little bit of the dough and the lard that get on your counter, not to worry, just continue. And if it bothers you, just clean it up. Move it to the side. Get a little bit of lard. And cover them. I turned on my comal, my cast iron pan. And now, for those of you that have a kitchen that's a little bit cold, do the same process. Place them in your oven with the light on at 0 degrees so that we can keep our bolitas, our little balls, nice and warm before we start rolling them out. And I like to turn my pan on, my cast iron, for at least 10 to 15 minutes on a low heat, just so that it can warm up and give us the heat that we need to make these tortillas. Because you guys know that when Cloud and I make these tortillas, in about 20-30 minutes, we can have 3 dozens, 30. Oh my, no.
No.
We can have
me
about
back to those days.
We can have about 3 dozens rolled out for the family, because everybody, when they eat the tortillas, they eat about 3. So you want a bowl of all-purpose flour, and you want to start with the first one that you rolled, because that's going to be the softest one. It's already been setting there, okay? Make sure to keep it covered so that they don't dry out. You're going to press 1, 2, 3, and you're going to press with about this right here. You see? And press it down good. Don't be scared of that flour. I'm going to show you 2 ways. Half of this I'm going to do the way that my mom does it, which is she pinches right here at the ends.
I know why, but why do you pinch at the ends?
When you roll out your tortillas, you're going to notice that the edges tend to be thicker for a lot of people that are not familiar with tortillas, okay? So that allows for a smooth tortilla equally. So just do that all the way around. And if you need more in-depth practice for this, I do have quite a variety of videos for you to look at that are going to help you. And what I do is I just press it down like that with this part.
With the ball of her hand.
Yes. like this.
She just doesn't want to keep saying ball, you guys.
I don't, but Cloud does. So now let me show you what I do when my hands are aching, okay? Because you guys know that I have arthritis. I'm almost gonna be 40, friends. Yeah. We're gonna press it down the same way that I taught you. And I press like this, like I'm pinching like this.
The key is whatever feels good for you with whatever part of your hand to help you do the job.
Yeah, and if you see, sometimes I press in here too. You know, you have to develop the techniques that work for you and your hands, and we're not all made the same, yet we're all the same. So it's not too different. It just depends on how you do it. Okay, so now we're ready to roll them out. Just some flour on your counter. And I'm starting halfway, rolling it out, halfway, rolling it down. I had a family member try to make a tortilla and it came out as a square, and I was able to fix it and make it into a circle.
And it was not me, so don't shade me. Don't shade me in the comments. Don't do it.
It wasn't Cloud. Okay? So once you have a chancla, a sandal looking thing in that length, you're gonna flip it over to the side. Just like that. I start here in the middle, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if you see, sometimes it'll stick, and if it sticks, just flip it over. It's gonna help you out. Get a little bit of flour.
Can you tell us how much pressure you're adding to the...
Don't play, girl. Quit playing. Are you serious?
I'm very serious right now.
It's very light.
It's light, you guys. This is not extra. You should not be showing your strength here.
It's like very, very light. Because if you press really hard, you're just gonna smear the tortilla. You notice I just bring a little flour. And these are habits that you kind of just create naturally. Nobody can tell you like you can do this or that. The next one I'll show you guys a little bit faster. And most of my tortillas do come out perfect. They really do, because they taste great. It's not so much the shape, but if you want to make your shape perfect, then you can just give it a practice, but give it a gentle, and then continue.
Another good tip is do not compare your tortillas to anyone else's. You are unique to your technique. You're unique to what your family likes. Don't compare your tortillas to anyone.
I did that. I compared my tortillas to my mother's, and now I have my mother's technique, but they're my tortillas with her technique. So.
And nobody's trying to replace your mama.
See, and I'm just being whatever here, just rolling it out, not trying to be perfect for you guys, so that you guys can see at home how easy this dough is to work with, okay? And you'd be surprised how much you can stretch this particular mixture of dough. Look at that. You can actually see through it. I'm gonna give it one more stretch, because once you pick it up, it'll shrink just a bit.
I think the one thing that can get in the way of you making your tortillas round is putting a lot of pressure on yourself emotionally, being sad. Oh yeah, that's nice and thin.
We're ready.
What else do you think can get in the way? Frustration?
If you're trying to be perfect. Right now, what you should be working on is trying to get that flavor of the tortillas to work, because your salt adjustment is going to be slightly different every time until you perfect it to what you like and what your family likes. So when you make it for your family, ask them, did you think it needed more salt, less salt? Did you like them? So this is my take on these tortillas. You know that I try to be pretty exact with the things that I'm telling you, and it's gonna vary with like Himalayan salt, table salt. Those things make a huge difference in your food. Now let's go ahead and cook this tortilla.
And don't forget, if we can do it, so can you.
You can do it. I want to say my friends, but I want to say my babies, because I am a mother and I love you all like a mother. And I know that sounds strange because we're virtual friends and we hang out all the time, but this is what I'm going to say to you because I care about you. Now, I know you want to show up with your ego and show your family how great your tortillas are, the tortillas are going to speak for themselves. I want you to take care of your hands. You've been working this dough with your hands, you've been moving your joints, and you're going to be making these tortillas on a hot comal or your cast iron or your pan. Whatever you do, when you're done making these tortillas, do not wash your hands. The other thing I want to tell you is that for my Mexican people, even if you use a spatula, that's not going to change the fact of your ethnicity. You're still Mexican, okay? So if you want to flip it with your hand just to learn that way, you can. Please be very, very careful. And if you want to flip it with a spatula and get all SpongeBob on it, do it. Make it comfortable for your home because your health is important. And the older we get, our body changes, okay? So for those of you that say it's too much work, let me tell you. Yeah, it is work when you first started doing it. But after so many times that you do it, it's just gonna come naturally to you. So remember, if you don't use those muscles, they stop working. So it's important for you, even if you do this once a month, that you work those muscles so that you can keep functioning at an 80, 90-year-old age. That's the way I see it.
Woohoo!
You guys let me know.
Cheers.
Mom's done. Let's cook.
Thank you for looking out for those special little hands out there.
Yes, be very, very careful, friends. DJ Tortilla. Friends, you talk about having maps. It's okay. If you see me stretching it, it was just a gentle. It wasn't a big pull, okay? It was just gentle.
So, can you show us how to repair a tear? Because I know that was the purpose of that one. So, thank you so much.
Just squeeze it
You
together.
have questions about tears? Just like you patch up your bike.
Boom, done. And when you cook these, you can just see a bubble up and you can't really tell once you get all these grooves that you might be stressing about when you're making your tortilla. You just, just make sure that at that final roll that you do, that you pick it up and place it back down because you're gonna see it shrink in size. And if you feel like you need your tortilla a little bit bigger, guess what? It is so forgiving that it'll stretch a little bit more for you. And remember, tortillas are like your kids and children and people. They're not all created equal, okay? So let them do what they're gonna do. The flavor is gonna be there. Our cast iron is nice and hot. And I say nice because it's gonna give us some great tortillas. We are gonna lay this tortilla from north to south, okay? We're gonna lay it halfway down and then we're gonna flip it. You're gonna put that tip north, flip it.
Always honor the direction your ancestors came in.
That's right, el norte.
From the north.
Ready? Flip. And you only want to cook them a few seconds if you're going to be reheating them, because if you're going to serve them right now, cook them fully, but you just need a little bit. The other thing you don't want is you don't want those big bubbles, so you can just release that air. One more time, we're going to place it down from north to south. Woo! Friends, you're going to notice with flour tortillas, you do not want to create a huge bubble. It's very different than corn tortillas. You create that bubble in the middle, it's going to separate the bottom and top layer, and that is just ridiculous. Nobody wants their tortilla to be separate that way. We want a nice full tortilla to hold everything. Okay, this is really exciting. So it just takes a few seconds.
Do not overcook it on the first phase if you're going to reheat these for dinner.
And then you can just the tip with your spatula, and if you're doing it by hand, then I guess you're gonna have to work with the bubbles. We're ready. When you place your tortillas, you want to place them with the side that you started cooking first. We cooked that side first and that side second, so lay that one facing down. And that way, when you set your pile of tortillas, you set a nice, beautiful pile that you can impress your suegra and your kids.
They're nice and fluffy.
The suegra won't say anything to you after you make these tortillas, friends.
Did you drop Jamaica on your towel?
You know what? I'm doing my own dyes on my rags. They're kitchen rags. No stese. And boom, done, friends. You will all be able to achieve super soft and fluffy tortillas. Some of you say, well, they turn flat after you cook them. No, once you warm them up, you're going to see they'll fluff right up again. And also, just keep in mind, these are not tortillas that we use baking soda. This is how we make them in Sonora. And I hope that you guys are excited with your new tip to achieve perfect tortillas. And to store your tortillas, fold them in half like this. Make sure that they are room temperature before you store them. And a Ziploc bag usually does the work. Make sure to recycle your Ziploc bag, write tortilla bag on here, and that way you can just continue to reuse it. And that measurement is pretty good to fit into one large gallon Ziploc bag. So I'm gonna keep mine open just so it can air out. They don't get too sticky. And boom, done. Say ah. As always, Views Club and Bell Notification Squad, Cloud and I are wishing you the best. We absolutely adore you, and we want to give a special shout out to all of you that are making a conscious effort to take care of the grandest mother of all, Earth. And on that one, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye! Adios! Friends, later I'm going to show you how to make these and stretch them by hand.
What?
Yeah, perfect. Arriba Sonora! And these will be done quickly. I can eat about 26 of these.
They're so amazing.
I know I'm having a moment with this tortilla. Anything you add to this tortilla is gonna be great.
This is the meal when your mom says we have food at the house.
Yeah, when you have food at the house and you don't need anything else, you know. These tortillas are great for wraps. And my older son now, for lunch, he can actually make his own lunch. Like he'll say, "Oh no, mom, do we have any tortillas?" And he'll make himself a wrap. He'll put some deli meat on there or whatever he wants to put at the time. And it just made me so happy, and that's what I'm thinking about while I'm making these tortillas, because these are going to be good to feed a lot of people.
I like the way you look today. You look like Georgie.
Thank you. I wanted to cheer you up.
My little 90-day fiance.
And my
Georgie, now propose to me. I'm hopeful. Give me that ring. You even did the top of your hair like him.
You're welcome.
Yo sé bien que estoy afuera y el día en que yo me muera sé que tendrán que llorar.
Llorar y llorar, llorar y llorar.
Verás que tú me quisiste,
pero vas a estar muy triste.
y así te vas a quedar. Con dinero y sin dinero hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley. No tengo trono y la Claudi.
Come on, Georgie. You're in the confessional with Georgie. What is it like to date Darcy?
She's the most beautiful, sweet, kind woman, and she has hands of an angel for my head.
Oh my gosh.
¿Cómo está mi Georgie?
I don't know, I feel like you need to do a bunny dance now, like from one end to the other. No, the side one. She's going to Bulgaria.
Ya me voy a Bulgaria.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could go there one day?
We will.
I wonder if anyone has the plug.
I don't know if we have any Bulgarian friends.
Besides Georgie.
Besides Georgie.
If you're from Bulgaria, please let us know.
Let
we
us
actually love your country, your
If
people,
you would like
your
to
food,
adopt
please.
us, take care of us, feed us, house us,
I
and
need a
todo.
Bulgarian friend, thank you, bye.
Cloud wants a Bulgarian.
Cállate, that's not true.
That's not true. Now they know why my earring was like this last time. De todas las tonterías que hacemos aquí.
Someone said that they can't picture me dancing.
Girl, you're gonna have to bring it for the holidays.
That's all we do in here, sing and
know.
dance and cook.
Yep. Our cast iron is nice and hot.
nice and hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot, 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 hot.
Hot potato. Tamale. Start your just.
Okay, ya, lista.
Cálmate, let's do this.
Enfócate.
Enfócate.
Enfocation.
Hello and welcome to the Views Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make nixtamal. Steph, what is nixtamal? Nixtamal is a corn masa that you use to make your corn tortillas, like the ones you get at those authentic taco shops, or when you go to Mexico and you get these fresh tortillas and you know how to get them here in the States. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make that, but first we need to go over the ingredients.
You'll need white hominy, maíz blanco, hydrate lime, and this lime is not the ones that they use at Home Depot, friends. This is one that you can use for cooking, and it's not necessarily cooking, it is just to do what we're about to do. Now let me show you. Add your hominy to some water. Move it around, and all the ones that you see floating, like when you see all this stuff floating right here, you just want to take them out. Okay, and you can scoop them out with a skimmer, with your hand, whatever you see fits. Just make sure to remove them. And if you see some of these corns like this one that says, hey, don't eat me.
How do you know it's saying not to eat you?
Because it's already, look at it.
Okay.
It was floating, it looks pretty spoiled. It just doesn't look well. If you see one that looks like this.
Like your childhood tooth?
Yes. This is a no. That is not a good corn for you. Just take that one out when you see them like that. That está muy picado. So once you clean it, now you're ready for the next step. Bring your water to a boil and add your lime. After you dissolve your lime into your water, you're going to add your hominy. Place your pot on a low heat, and we're going to continue the process for another 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you're going to stir your maíz. And it should look like that. Little yellow hue. You're going to turn your burner off, and we're going to let this set overnight, a minimum of 12 hours with the lid on, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next step. And after 24 hours, our corn is ready to be rinsed. You'll see that by soaking it, we're able to get the skin off the corn, and by washing it, we're able to remove it off of all of the corn kernels. Depending on the kernels that you purchase and how old they are, you're going to find that you get little black specks. You want to just take it off, okay? Not all of them have that. You'll find that some of the kernels have the black speck, but half of it is also black. Those are the ones that you need to remove from your batch.
Are those the animalitos that are in there?
Yes, está picado el elote, and that's little bugs that are not going to make your masa good, and it's just spoiled goods. Okay?
It's not the kind of protein you need right now.
No, it's not that. Not that kind. All right, now let's rinse. I like to massage the kernels like this to remove the skins, and depending on the quality of corn that you're using, sometimes it's easy to come off, especially if it's fresh, but if it's those older bags that we get here in the States, it takes a little bit more of the work to remove the skins. And I'll show you guys a tip. Get a cheese grater, get your kernels, and run them through gently. That'll just help you take some of that skin off. Like I said, the quality of the kernels that you're using is going to make the huge difference. And the rest is just wash and rinse and wash and rinse, which I'll end up doing about 4 to 6 times depending. If you notice, I'm not squeezing really hard, I'm just being gentle. I'm using the kernels to grind with each other, kind of like you young kids do at the clubs and at your dances, at your gatherings. That's all you want to do, a gentle grind. See, like this one is what I was talking about. You see how it's spoiled all the way in? Those are the ones you want to take out. You don't want to keep those. This is the second rinse, friends, and you can see that the color is still yellow in our water, and you can see a lot of the skin just floating around. Your final step of rinsing should look like this: clean corn and clear water. Next, you're gonna add a little corn at a time to your blender, and we're just gonna grind it a little bit to break it down. If you see, you have a nice and dry grind just like that. I think that grinding a cup and a half max is the best way to blend it, and then move it into another bowl. I'm gonna continue to do this with the rest of our corn. Now it's time to get to work. Now I'm gonna be using a small metate, a small mortar, and you just need to wet it enough, okay? Now let's get to work. Since we use the Vitamix and not a grinder, you're gonna see that the consistency is a little bit on and off. Some of them are smaller, some of them are a little bit bigger, but that's what you need this for, to grind. And you see that you have a nice and soft corn masa. And I'm gonna continue with the rest of our batch, friends. If for some reason when you were using the blender, you still see that you have a whole kernel, not to worry. Not all of them can be whole, but if there's a few that are like that, that's fine. Your metate is exactly for that, to grind. And if you have an indigenous ancestry, that's exactly how your people did it, okay? And for our friends that don't, guess what? That's okay. We're gonna show you how you eat in our house.
You're all welcome, amigos.
Yes, yes, yes. And boom, done. Friends, it's a smooth and soft consistency that you're looking for. Make sure that you're working this corn as smooth as you can, okay? If you need a break, take a break, but this is gonna make the best tortillas that you've ever had. Friends, I'm gonna say this to you. Things that come easy don't last long, is what I always tell my kids. And making masa, making tortillas is no different. The first time you make it, you gotta get familiarized with the process, with the texture, with what you want to come out of your masa. And the more that you work these recipes and the more you practice, the better your tortillas, the better the quality of your food is gonna become. And with that, friends, this little ball means that we're ready to make some tortillas. So soft, look at that.
Before you get started, I know you're getting ready and I'm gonna ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the consistency at this step right here?
The consistency at this step, it feels like Play-Doh. Do you see how smooth it is?
Mm-hmm.
But when you grab it, it has a little bit of grit. Kind of when you grind your rice for your horchata, but really, really smooth, like a little paste. Look.
Okay.
A nice paste like that. If your masa feels like coffee grounds, then that means that you gotta grind it a little bit more.
What if my shoulder gives out and I just don't have the patience to be?
Well, let me tell you, honey, we have a lot of products now that all you gotta do is, you guys ready for this one? It's gonna take a few batches, but you can get it done in the Vitamix as long as you're using that little macana to push it down. I can never remember the name of it in English, I don't know why.
You know, the stick.
The stick. Use the stick. You're gonna have to grind it a little bit, add enough water, but if you go too crazy on your water, and crazy, I mean you guys get really excited, so it can be a smoother grind. No, put it on the smoothie setting, and if you blend at about a 3 and keep it at a 3 while it's grinding, that's gonna be the best way to do it. So just how I showed you guys the first time, just grind it, break the corn apart, and then your next batch is gonna be grinding it a little bit further like the smoothie, and you're gonna get more of a smooth consistency. But you know what? I challenge you guys to do the metate and get the work and get that smoothness, you know, that we all love.
Sounds good to me.
All right,
Okay.
enough?
Yeah, that's it. No more questions.
Okay, take your little ball of masa. Place it down the center. And gentle press. Now, let's go place it on the comal. When you're making your corn tortillas, make sure to swipe a little bit of oil on your cast iron if that's what you're using, because that's gonna make it a lot easier for you to make those tortillas. Friends, I'm just having a simple bean taco. These are super easy to make once you learn the technique. So if you think you're gonna show up one day and just make them and it's gonna work out perfect like the flour tortillas, no, this is a little bit different. This does require work and technique, and I know that with the tips that I've given you guys, you're gonna be able to do it. So you ready for a taste?
You're ready. Oh yeah, give me some of that deliciousness.
Say ah.
As always, Views Club and Bell Notification Squad, Cloud and I are wishing you the best. We absolutely adore you. And on that one, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Adios.
All right, Cloud, you ready for the taste? Okay, it's hot. Blow on it, girl.
You should give that a go. Your beans are bomb, girl.
Friends, come back and let us know in the comments how you're doing with your nixtamal. It is going to require work, like I said, but I'm excited for you guys to start on this new venture and get some tasty corn tortillas.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make chile colorado flour tortillas. Friends, this is a recipe you don't want to miss, and it's a lot easier than the salsa verde flour tortillas. So if you've made any of our recipes before, this is one that you're going to be able to perfect.
For this recipe, you'll need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of lard, or you can use vegetable shortening, 1 cup of warm water, 9 guajillo chilies. Make sure to remove the stems and the seeds. And to season our tortillas, we're going to be using 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, and half a tablespoon of Mexican oregano. I'm going to start off by removing the stems and the seeds and placing our chiles into the blender. Add your salt, ground cumin, and for those of you that don't like ground cumin, you can skip it, but for those of you that love it, you're going to absolutely love it in here. Your Mexican oregano. And now we're going to blend until smooth. My Vitamix seems to be out of commission, friends, so she's going to go on vacation while she gets repaired. So we're going to use our Foodie Ninja blender to blend our chiles, which is perfect because a lot of you have these and they're just so much easier to use. And boom, done. Place your burner on a medium heat and add your blended ingredients. Once you can smell that your chili is roasting, go ahead and turn it off. You do not want to burn this part. After about 25 to 30 seconds, you're going to remove your pan from the heat and we're going to get started on making our tortillas. Add your 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour to your bowl, and then you're going to add your chili blend.
Oh, it smells delightful in here.
Absolutely amazing. Once you heat up this pan, you're heating up the oils from your spices and your chile, and it's absolutely aromatic heaven.
Oh, it really is. What a difference from when you boil the chili.
A huge difference.
Would I be able to add my boiled chilies in here instead of doing the dry method that you did?
Of course you can, Cloud, but guess what? It's gonna get really sticky and gross.
Oh, man.
So if you guys wanna work that masa, go ahead. But when you're working with all dry ingredients, it just makes this process a whole lot easier, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is one of the most gorgeous masas that I've ever worked with.
It looks beautiful.
And you know how much I love the masa for the tamales.
We know how much you love red chili.
Got excited just by hearing you say that.
You're blushing.
Add your 3 tablespoons of lard. And now we're gonna break up the lard and combine it into our dry ingredients.
Thanks for the splash.
You're welcome. I knew you were gonna love that. As soon as the blend hits any kind of oil, you're gonna start seeing that color come through. It's absolutely beautiful.
I was just thinking, how lucky are the kids where their mothers greet them with fresh made tortillas?
Yes, precious babies.
And
They deserve it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, they deserve it. When I made these last time, the babies, because I wake up early, the babies woke up and and they said, "What's in the oven? It smells so good." And I'm like, "Oh, that's just my masa." You know how I turn the light on in the oven? They thought that I was baking something and they got hungry. They're like, "It smells like chorizo."
They're so sweet.
So they woke up hungry that day. So once you've combined your lard into your dry ingredients, you're gonna make a little well and start by adding 3/4 of a cup of water. Depending on your climate, you might need a little bit more, a little bit less, but you can gauge it that way. I don't know if I said it, but the water that I did pour in here is warm. Okay, I'm just about done combining our ingredients, and you're gonna notice a lot of you are gonna be like, oh Steph, it's not sticking to my hand. This dough is absolutely amazing. If you want this to be your starter tortilla recipe, I definitely guarantee it. A lot of you have a difficult time and don't know when you need to add a little bit more water. Right now would be the time to add a little bit more water.
Just because you have all that flour down there?
I know that if that flour down there needs to be hydrated, I still need to hydrate a lot of this masa. Hydration is key to keep nice soft tortillas so that they don't dry out, along with the cooking process like I mentioned in our last tortilla recipe. And you're going to continue kneading your dough until it's not sticky. If after 4 minutes you're kneading it's still sticky, you can sprinkle a little bit of flour, and by a little bit I mean about half a tablespoon, and start slowly, okay? And don't be scared of your masa. Get in here. Knead it. You're an industrial machine.
Woo!
Put your knuckles into it, okay?
You guys got this.
Yep, you got this.
The smell alone will motivate you to keep kneading.
Yeah. I'm already thinking of cheddar with this tortilla for some reason.
Yes.
You know, the orange and the red contrast. Carne asada. Carne asada. Ay, qué rico. Qué rico. And after about 6 to 8 minutes with this dough, you're gonna get the consistency that you need. It's not too tacky. You see that? Mm-hmm. Just perfect. So go ahead and make it into a ball like this. And if you're not huffing and puffing, then you didn't get in here. You have to be huffing and puffing.
And don't worry about the stains in your hands. It's no different than Cheeto stains on your fingers. It goes away.
Warm up a little bit of lard in your hand and cover your masa with it. You can put a plastic wrap, a kitchen cloth, or you can put a plate. And you're gonna allow your dough to rest for a minimum of 45 minutes in a warm place. I like to place it in the oven with the light on. And the longer you let your dough rest, the better. So if you start this in the morning and then you don't get started on your tortillas till later, even 4, 5, 6 hours later, perfect. I've had this dough resting for 5 hours. Look at how soft that is.
It's beautiful.
And now we're gonna start making our tortilla balls.
Is that burrito size?
These are house burrito size. Don't be thinking it's your taco shop, okay? Don't play.
You said calm
Don't
down.
get too excited talking about burritos because we get ourselves in trouble with that.
Yeah. I got sent to HR because of a burrito.
Yep, Cloud got sent to HR for burritos.
In my personal life, you guys.
It was innocent, but somebody
so
took it too far. You know who you are.
Yep.
We still pray for you. Don't worry.
I actually do. I actually do. You can't help who you love, you know? Like, if you love somebody, let them do their thing and just pray for them.
As they say, if you love someone, let them go. You're all free to go whenever you want. I
just believe in surrender, not necessarily letting anyone go because they're not like cattle, you know what I mean? It's like...
It's an expression, Cloud.
Oh, I meant literally, like...
You're like, no te rías de mí.
Me? Yeah, no, I laugh at myself. That's how you get through. Maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yep, it is for us. Pretty exact. You're gonna get a dozen of tortillas, okay? A little bit more lard. Warm it up in your hands. Put it over your tortillas. That way they don't dry out. For this batch, I did use a plastic wrap, so I'm just gonna use the same one and place it over my tortilla balls, and we're gonna get started on stretching our tortillas. Grab one of your masa balls. To some all-purpose flour, you wanna dip your masa ball just like this. And I like to press the edges. The longer you allow your dough to rest, the smoother it's gonna go for you, okay? I don't know, I've been doing that recently and I love it. and start rolling your tortilla. Do your stretch like a big huarache. That's about how big your tortilla is going to be, okay? So once you do that, go ahead and flip it over. These tortillas are so soft while you're rolling them that it almost feels like a juicy tender steak.
Ooh.
Kind of like our birria verde, you guys. In the oven, that tender. You are gonna have to dust your rolling pin a few times while rolling your tortillas, and that's okay. If you see any of the flour, it'll be fine. That's why sometimes with this recipe, you have to hydrate it properly, or else when you're doing this part, that's the part that'll end up drying your tortillas too. I hope this small recipe of tortillas is inspiring you to get in that kitchen. Start building memories with the kids. Saturday mornings, get your coffee and start with the masa, even if they're not helping. They're gonna remember you for making tortillas on Saturdays. And when they miss you, they'll be making tortillas on Saturdays.
And they eventually come around.
They do, they do. I mean, who doesn't love tortillas? And boom, we're ready to go. So good. Cloud got the first taste test today. You are gonna notice that with this flour, the dough is so soft that you do get more of the curving.
And you can taste the red chili in here and
You
the
can.
spices. So good. You outdid yourself.
Also, when you're roasting your chili, you can get more of the natural oils to come out from your chili, and that's why your blend for your lard has to be exact for this recipe.
Gracias, doña.
Ready?
Ready.
I love seeing the way the color changes. It just goes from a regular orangey red to a burnt red orange. Oh, gorgeous.
This burnt color reminds me of the Southwest.
Shout out to all our friends in the Southwest.
Hello to all our relatives.
And boom, done, amigos. Look at, they are done perfect. You can fold them. They're not going to crack. Burrito time. You're all set. This is going to be the best recipe for you to make if this is your first time making tortillas. The dough is so forgiving for your sweet little hands. I'm telling you, if you're going to make a tortilla recipe, this is going to be it. And you don't have to butter every single tortilla. We just do this. It's a comfort thing, you know. Just get it right off the pan and butter it up. For some reason, it does have to be the whole stick of butter for me. See, nothing cracked. You guys got this. I'm gonna need somebody very special to say
Oh, you're celebrating the tortillas.
He's just so cuddly. You ready, baby?
Yeah.
Do you want me to feed you? You want to feed yourself? You know I want to feed you. Open up.
He's such fun.
Open up. I asked him, I said, I want to know what your favorite tortillas are. And he's going to say it right in front of you guys. He's a little bit on the spot right now.
Red.
Red? All right, these are a winner. There you go. Friends, if you make this recipe, please let us know. Tag us on our social media. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, comment, like this video, and we'll see you guys on the next one. That's it? You don't say bye? I'm still eating.
Bye. Adios.
You haven't been able to function.
No, I don't know what is in here.
It's a surprise, Punky.
What if it's pork butt?
Pork butt. That'd be really good in here, actually. There you go. You want butter on there?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot or a little bit?
A lot of butter.
A lot of butter it up. You rowing today?
Yeah.
All right, then I'll butter it up. You're gonna need all that energy. I was thinking, who's special enough to come and say ah for mommy? You're so beautiful.
He really went for the that came with the doctors.
You're so sweet. My sweet angel. What do you think? What do you think? You're already ready to
Good.
Good? All
I
right,
love it.
enjoy. All right, I'm gonna clean up.
Hello and welcome, amigos. Today I'm going to show you how to make salsa verde flour tortillas. And friends, let me tell you, don't skip because there's a few tips that I'm going to be sharing with you that are going to make a huge difference when you're making these tortillas.
Ooh, you put your hair up.
I did. Our elders suggest that I keep my hair up when making tortillas, and I want to make all of you happy, so put your hair up. Start by adding 2.5 cups of warm water to your blender. Some of you might say, how warm, Steph? If you've ever made a bottle for a baby and you put a little bit of the water on your wrist, that's when it's warm. If it's too hot for your wrist, it's too hot to go in here. I've roasted our poblano pepper, and as you can see, I removed the skins, the stem, and the seeds. So just tear it. Ooh, splashing everywhere, but tear it and throw it in the blender. You're gonna add 4 tomatillos, and I'm just slicing them down the middle, just easier to blend. Not that this blender needs any help, but you guys know, it's a habit. And next, you want to take a big bunch of cilantro. This will enhance the flavor of your tortillas and also give it that beautiful green color that we're looking for. And now you want to blend until smooth. And boom, done, friends. Add your 7 cups of all-purpose flour and set 1 cup of all-purpose flour to the side. Add 1 tablespoon of salt. Give that a good mix. And next you want to add 2/3 of a cup of lard. Start combining your lard into your flour. I like to grab the flour and the lard and just give it a good squeeze. This usually helps me too. Once you see the crumble just like this, that means that we're ready to add our blended ingredients. So go ahead and make a little well. Add your blended ingredients. And start combining to the best of your abilities. When you're hydrating your masa, you want to make sure that you mix it for 4 minutes while you're hydrating to get it nice and gooey, just like oatmeal. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to sprinkle in half of that cup of flour we set to the side, and you're going to start with that. It's going to depend on your climate if you're going to need more flour, if you're going to need less. Look at the humidity levels, that has a lot to do with it. And don't get frustrated when it gets this sticky, okay? I can already feel just by mixing the dough that I needed that other half cup of flour. Now, Steph, how do we get rid of that stickiness? Let me tell you, amigos. You're gonna have to knead it. Whether it's on your stand mixer or by hand, like we're gonna do in just a few minutes. Take about 1/4 cup of flour and sprinkle it on your counter. And release the green machine. No, not your guys' green juice. And now it's time to knead our dough. You can get the stickiness off your hand if you really can't stand it. I think that's what frustrates a lot of people. And don't quit on me. The tortillas are gonna be worth the stickiness. So go ahead and start mixing. For those of you at home that still have a lot of the stickiness going on when you're kneading your flour, you can sprinkle a little bit more flour and start like about 2 tablespoons at a time. Don't go too heavy. Cloud placed a cup of flour for me here. Thank you, sis. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit at a time, rub it all around the sides that are all sticky, just like this. And I'm gonna keep kneading, friends. Continue kneading your dough for about 15 minutes or until it's nice and smooth.
Is there a particular reason why this dough is stickier than the other doughs?
Great question, Cloud. The reason this dough is a bit stickier than the other ones, it's because of the tomatillo.
I see.
And friends, once your dough gets nice and soft, like this, you can squeeze your hands in it. It's gonna be slightly sticky still, but that's okay. Go ahead and make it into a big ball, just like this. Take everything in. Take some lard. Warm it up Mr. Miyagi style in your hands. And if you guys haven't seen the Karate Kid, I don't know where you've been. Unless it's Yubi's Club Junior, but you guys probably already watched this season with your parents. You want to allow this dough to rest a minimum of 45 minutes in a warm spot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in my bowl, place it in my oven, 0 degrees with the light on. And these are going to be small for taquitos, and these are going to be for more burrito style tortillas. Once you've allowed your dough to rest, it's time to make our tortilla balls. So nice and smooth. And you can see as I'm making the tortilla balls, it's still slightly tacky, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. While you're making your tortilla balls, if you notice that your dough's a little bit dry on the outside, you can just lather your hands with a little bit of lard and start squeezing out your little balls. Take a little bit of lard, warm it up in your hands, and tap all your tortilla balls. We do not want them to dry out. Now you're gonna take one. You have 2 choices. You can either roll them with your hands in a circular motion and get little softies like that, or you can lay your palms flat just like this and roll it up. It's gonna be up to you. Now I'm gonna continue with the remaining tortillas. We have roughly 4.5 dozen tortillas. They don't all fit, but we're gonna get started with rolling them. So at home, you might end up between 4 and 5, and it's okay. Take your tortilla ball and give it a gentle roll. Press the outer parts just like this. And now it's time to roll. Vroom, 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 vroom. I know some of you like to make square tortillas, and guess what? That's not a problem here in this house. All you want to do is stretch them just like this until you achieve your desired circle. And now we're ready to cook our tortillitas. Make sure your burner is hot. One thing that you're doing at home that's messing up your tortillas and drying them out is that you're overcooking them. You only need about 10 to 12 seconds on each side, and then you do a flip, and boom, done.
Are the parts that are not charred on here, are they raw?
No, they are fully cooked. It's hot enough. It's just flour we're cooking. This isn't a roast, Cloud.
Okay.
And boom, done, amigos. All right, amigos, we are just about done. I have my stick of butter. I'm gonna butter this tortilla up for you guys. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna let you guys know that these tortillas pair great with anything pork. I found that that brings out the best flavor. Second would be chicken, seafood, and then beef.
Because chile verde goes great with pork.
It's just absolutely divine. It really is. Another thing that I'm gonna share before you guys take this good bite is I have worked this recipe for you. This recipe is more intermediate level. If you haven't made tortillas and this will be your first time, do not start with this recipe. I'll link a recipe in the description area that's gonna help you out. Now, for those of you that are ready to make these tortillas, I found that using 8 tomatillos gave it a better flavor and a little bit more than half of the bunch of cilantro. Ooh, 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 it's getting hot in here. Now I'm gonna need somebody very special to say, hurry up and take a bite because my fingers are burning.
Thank you, darling.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my gosh. How did you make this taste just like chile verde? Because I've been working this recipe. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you guys for getting us to 900K. Here's to 100,000 more. Woohoo! Friends, if you haven't taken the time to subscribe, go ahead and do so. We enjoy the thumbs up and also reading your comments. Now, some of you don't like to share us and you keep us to yourself, but I think everybody already knows. So go ahead and subscribe and tell everybody you love us. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye. You got me blowing kisses now. They deserve it. You deserve it, and you deserve what's coming next. Oh yeah! Perfect foldable vegan flour tortillas every time. Hello and welcome back to Views on the Road. I'm your host Steph, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make vegan flour tortillas from scratch. And don't skip too far ahead because we're going to be discussing several different fats that you can use to make perfect vegan tortillas. You'll need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of water, half a cup of vegetable shortening, and half a teaspoon of salt. As promised, we're going to discuss fats that you can use to make your vegan tortillas. I always suggest to make it comfortable for your home, but I'm going to give you the suggestions from my favorite to least favorite. My favorite has to be the Spectrum shortening. It is fruit palm oil, and with this one I can use it just as I would use lard. Now for those of you that don't want to spend so much money on that one, you can use your vegan butter. And if you really don't care about the ingredients, you just want it to be vegan, you can use Crisco. And if you're at a Mexican store, you might find one that's called Inca. But out of all of these, my least favorite is going to be Crisco because I tend to get heartburn. You might not have the same experience, but for me, I do get heartburn with Crisco. So I hope that you make this comfortable for your home. To your mixer, you want to add your all-purpose flour. Add your salt. Give that a loving mix. Add your choice of fat, and I'm going to be using the Spectrum shortening. And with your whisk attachment, you're going to combine your ingredients until you achieve a little bit of a crumble with your flour and your lard mixture. You're going to start slow and then pick up the speed, because if you start really fast, you're going to make a mess everywhere. And the less cleaning, the better. You're going to find that when you're using the Spectrum shortening, that sometimes when you're using your mixer, you're going to get it stuck here. So just help it out and continue combining your ingredients. And I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I'm going to share something with you. When you're using the Spectrum shortening, you're going to find that some of your shortening doesn't absorb well into your flour. So this is when you're making the vegan tortillas by hand, it works best because you're just going to have to come in and help it just a little bit. Especially because I'm in a very extreme cold climate, I'm going to help it out just a bit. And while I'm here, I'm going to make a little well. If you're using organic all-purpose flour, you're going to use 1 1/4 of a cup of water. If you're using gold medal or a different brand, then you can go ahead and use 1 cup. Now with your hook attachment, you're going to start mixing. You're going to start slowly, and once you see everything combined, you can pick up the pace. And this is going to be going on for another 4 minutes. Remove your hook. You want to take your masa. You want to make a beautiful masa ball just like this. I coated my bowl with some of our Spectrum shortening. Now I'm just going to roll it a little bit. Place it down on my bowl. And I'm going to cover it with a damp cloth. And I'm going to let this rest for about 15 to 20 minutes. The longer you rest your dough, the better. And you want to keep this in a warm spot. So I'm going to place it in my oven at 0 degrees. Lucky for you guys, I make a lot of tortillas. So now I'm just going to take our dough that I've rested and start making tortilla balls. And we're aiming for 1 dozen of tortillas. I have some Spectrum shortening right here, and all I'm going to do is grab a little bit, warm it up with my hands. I noticed a lot of my friends, they do this real quick, set it to the side, but you really have to twirl that ball round and round. And the reason I know this, it's because I grew up hanging out in a tortilla factory. And I would see all these strong Mexican men rolling the tortillas like this. And then you see their arms when they're grilling their carne asada. They had a lot of muscle. You gotta be strong for this, but that's what you're gonna do. Warm up some more of your shortening in your hands. Tap them over the top. That will prevent your balls from drying. You're gonna place your damp cloth over your masa, and you're gonna let this set for 10 minutes. Once you've rested your masa doughs, you're going to take one and you're going to press it into some of your flour. You're going to fully coat it. Pick it up and dust over your surface area. Give a nice little round press like this. And now you're going to start rolling. I start rolling gently. I don't press too hard. And I like to make it into a nice round sandal. That helps me keep a shape to where it's going to be round just like a tortilla. And as many of you know, I'm not perfect. So if you end up having a tortilla that looks like a map, I'm going to show you how to help yourself. You flip it, and when you see you have a little bit of a map, you can stretch it slightly, just like that.
And you can give it another roll. And there you have it, a perfect round tortilla. Let's go cook it. And what you want to do is you want to bring your tortilla down north to south, just like this. Give it a little flip. Allow it to cook. It's not going to take too long. You can already see it changing color. And as soon as it starts changing color, that means that those parts are cooked. You don't want to overcook your tortillas because when you have to warm them up for when it's time for your burritos or your guisados, they're going to end up being really stiff. Give that a flip. Should take you about 15 seconds on this side. That part looks really good to me. You're going to be warming it up again. And we're going to continue with the remaining tortillas. And I'm going to show you what happens when you cook on a cast iron versus a regular non-stick pan. Okay, and now in a non-stick pan, I'm going to place our tortilla in here. And it's best if you use a non-stick pan if that's what you're using. That's a lot flatter because when it has these grooves on the top, you're more likely to burn your arms. As you can see, I cook often and I have a lot of burns all over my hands. And you can smell the difference when you're cooking your tortillas. You can see the texture is just slightly different. So you don't want to overcook them. You're just going to place them on your pile. And you can see the difference between your tortillas. Nice, foldable tortillas every single time. I mean, I've done this way too many times, you guys. I'm going to warm one up because we need to have one with butter. It's very cold where I'm at. My butter's cold. It's not even melty. It's a little hard. So I'm just going to put it in parts, allow it to warm up on my tortilla, and then I'll roll it right up for you. And this right here is Mexican and anybody that loves tortillas comfort food. I like to sprinkle a little bit of salt and then we're ready to roll it up. I'm gonna need somebody very special to say ah. And you see, there is no cracks in your tortillas. Don't fully cook them, so that way when you warm them up, you have a beautiful rollable tortilla. And my tip to you is gonna be, if you're using spectrum shortening and you're in cold weather, I'd say don't do it. I've done it, and for some reason you get a little bit of grittiness. It gets really cold, but if you're in a desert or in a hot place, it works great. So if you're in a cold place, stick with butter. And if you're in a hot place, either or is gonna work. I hope this recipe works for you guys. And another thing that I do wanna share is if you don't mind using gold medal, I'm not sure if it's vegan or not, it's probably the best one to use when you're making tortillas at home. It's gonna be super easy for you and you're gonna absolutely love them.
Buen provecho.
Thank you. You can never have too many tortillas, you know. You know, you wanna keep it light with your salt on your tortillas because you never know if you're gonna use it for a guisado, for your tacos, and that's salty enough. These should just be complementing your cooking. So don't stress it. If you need more help with your tortillas, I have a bunch of tortillas that I made for you guys. So whatever problems you're having, I go and read the comments, and then the next time I make them, I start talking about those things or those questions that you had. These tortillas are so good, they're gonna make me want to scream, so go ahead and look away. As always, Cloud and I are wishing you the best. We absolutely adore you. We hope that you enjoyed this recipe. If you like this recipe, leave us a comment. If you make this recipe, tag us on our social media. And on that one, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Adios. Hello and welcome. Friends, I have an amazing recipe for you today, and it is by popular demand and also circumstance. I noticed that we're all busy. You and I are both busy, and that's not a reason for you to miss out on some delicious tortillas. Also, for my ladies that have aches and pains, I'm with you. I have arthritis, and you guys told me to take care of myself, and it takes me some time, but I listen, okay? So we are here to make these tortillas in 30 minutes. So let's get to it. Yeah! To your all-purpose flour, add your salt. Stir the ingredients and let's add them to our stand mixer. First, we're going to incorporate our shortening or our lard, whatever you're using, into our flour. We're going to stir first, and then we're going to slowly move it up until we get the consistency that we need, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So after about 20 seconds, you want to come in here and incorporate more of the flour that's to the sides into the center so that we can get that well mixed with our lard, which is what I'm using today. I find that shortening gives me heartburn, so I like the way that the lard works for us. Now let's go ahead and give it another 10 seconds and blast it. The consistency that we're left with is not the same as when you do it by hand, but it's gonna be equally as good because the next step that we're adding has to be super hot boiling, okay? So when you add the water in here, make sure that it's hot boiling water, and my kettle that I use all the time that I mentioned to you guys keeps it nice, hot, and boiling. So let's go ahead and add that. We're gonna go ahead and place this on stir as we're adding our hot boiling water. Now I'm gonna go ahead and allow this flour on the side to incorporate into that nice doughy we got going on right in that middle. That sogginess, wanna make sure it gets in there, okay? And let's continue. And we're gonna start the speed slowly from 2, 3, 4, and you're just gonna see it go. I'm gonna check the consistency, and already you can see that that hot water made this nice, pliable, and you know, once you lift and check the consistency, you can just lift it up to make sure that it coats itself with all that we have going on here. I mention often when you're baking or making tortillas, the humidity of wherever you live really plays a toll here. So if it's too dry, too humid, you're gonna have to find your way through this. But what I recommend is that if you notice that you need a little bit more water, start by adding 1 tablespoon, mix it around, and then go from there, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 more tablespoon of water. It shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 minutes to mix everything well together, especially since we're using hot boiling water. So now that we're done with this step, let's go ahead and take it off our stand mixer so that we can make our bolitas, our little balls. Comes right off. Ready? Look at how soft that is. Nice and gentle. See the consistency? Like I said, don't get too crazy with the amount of water you're using. This recipe is pretty exact, whether you're making it by hand or on your stand mixer. I'm gonna line the dish that I'm gonna use to rest my my tortilla balls in, and just line it up so it keeps everything nice and moist. You don't want any of these little balls to dry out. This is gonna be an optional part, but I measure them so that I can have a whole dozen. But if you guys feel comfortable just making them in whatever size that you need, go for it. So for those that want the measurements, come down here and take a look. I'm using the NutriFit scale, and I'm gonna be measuring in grams. So I'm gonna keep these at about 50 grams because these are the ones that you use to eat on the side. These are not the burrito size. So about 50 to 55 grams is a good size for the the tortillas that you serve with your guisado, with your beans on the side for breakfast, those kind, okay? So anywhere from 50 to 55, you should be good. So I'm gonna continue to make my little 50-gram tortilla balls, and we'll get to our next step. So once we have all of our 1 dozen of tortilla balls, you want to lather your hands with some shortening or your lard. Warm it up real nice in your hands, okay? Want to keep these balls nice and warm so they can rest properly. If you need more of a technique for your tortillas and that's what you're looking for, please make sure to look in the description. I'm going to link them in the comment section too for all the tortilla recipes that we have. So that way you guys can achieve your tortillas to perfection. The reason we're coating them with some lard is so that we can keep them nice and moist. You don't want them to dry out, okay? They don't have to be perfect. Just continue.
How are you gripping your fingers on the bottom?
Oh, coming close, close. Lather it nice. Okay. I come in like this. I don't know if you guys can see it from there.
Yeah, we can see.
Push with the palm. My pinkies and this finger, my ring finger, I bring them back. And if you notice, it leaves a little bit there, but you're good. Just cup it. Bring it back, forward with the palm. And then you start developing that circle.
With the heel, if you think about your hand as that's the back part, it's the heel of your hand.
Yeah, and if you can see my designs here on the granite,
yes,
in a circular motion, that's what we want.
Nice.
Does it make a difference? Can you go like this if you guys can't do that? Of course you can. Of course you can. Just like that. And this is a part where I love having my kids around, because to see their cute little hands and connecting with mama, I love it. So all I do is I press my hand out, and if ladies, you can't do that because you have aches, it's okay. Cup it like this. Or get the grandbabies, the kids to come and help you. They want to eat, they gotta help. I recommend you guys practice once a month making your tortillas. I guarantee you it's gonna come in handy. So once you have all your bolitas, if you notice any of them got a little dry, it's okay. You can come and caress them with some more to keep them nice and moist. You can use whatever you have at home, but since I'm trying to use less plastic, I like using this little baking dish and putting a plate over it.
It looks like the Flintstones necklace.
What? This one? Oh my goodness, it does. Oh, Betty. Isn't that her name, Betty? All right, friends, we're gonna let them rest for 5 minutes. Obviously, the longer you let them rest, the softer they get and easier for you to stretch, but you know what? This is a good recipe. You guys are gonna be good. So we'll start our next process in 5 minutes. While our masa balls are resting, I'm gonna go ahead and start my comal, my cast iron, so that way the heat and the temperature is ready for us to start cooking these tortillas, because this is gonna be moving quickly. Make sure that when you're making these 30-minute tortillas, nobody harasses you and everybody's doing their part cleaning, okay? Let me start it. I set my comal on a medium heat because I know how to gauge it when you're using cast iron, but for those of you that are using a non-stick pan, don't worry about it. You guys know how to gauge your temperature because you're not likely to burn it on a non-stick, but on a cast iron, you do have that tendency. So take it easy, be patient, we'll get through it. Our masa has been resting for 5 minutes. Now we're gonna go ahead and place it into a bowl of flour. You're gonna press it in with your fingers using these three. Turn it over, press, okay? Dust that flour on your counter or whatever you're using. And we're gonna use our chavo finger. And we're gonna start pressing it here. And pressing the ends, okay? Be gentle, but make sure you go the whole way around. This is gonna help your tortillas cook evenly, and it's not gonna be super doughy at the ends. Press it down with your palms into a circular motion like this. Now with your rolling pin, we're gonna start halfway and we're gonna start rolling it gently, okay? Halfway up, halfway down gentle. Up, down gentle. And the shape we're trying to achieve is a nice chancla, just like that. Gets a little slippery with the flour, but it's necessary.
What kind of pressure are you applying? More in the middle or in the outer edges?
I think on the outer, not in here. I'm not making sure I'm pressing hard. I'm pressing hard on the sides. And it's going to depend on the rolling pin that you're using as well. I like this little one. It works for me, but everybody has their own little style. So once you achieve that chancla, that sandal look, you're going to go ahead and place it on its side and bring some of that flour with you. Okay? And I'm going to start from this side halfway, rolling it up, and then rolling it down. And if you see it curved like that, be careful because it's easy for you to put it back into itself, invert itself. So take it easy. That just means that that part is really thin. Remember, these are little side table tortillas. They are not for your burritos for this measurement. So right here, you want to roll it out because once you're rolling it and you pick it up, it kind of shrinks a little bit. So you want to roll it out a good size.
Oh, once you put it on the heat, it shrinks.
No, right here, like if we lift it, you'll see that it shrinks a little bit even when you stretch it because it's glutinous tortillas.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So, oop, there we go. We're human.
Just a little wrinkle.
Yeah. Looks just like me. You can stretch it a little bit. And one of the things that will help you with this, if you need to stretch it a little bit more, is you get your thumb right here and you toss it over. And right where your pinky ends, you bring the other one, and you don't have to pull too hard. It just helps you stretch it out just a little bit more. There we go. See? So it's going to be up to you what you want to do. Now that we have this set and you have the technique, let's go get started with cooking our tortillas. My comal is nice and hot. I have a little bit of smoke going on, so I lowered my temperature. You guys are going to have to gauge it the best way that you know how, okay? So we're going to drop this tortilla from north to south. And I'm going to show you on the next one why you want to do it north to south, because it's a lot easier, okay?
That's how we live our life.
Yep.
North to south.
And we're from the north. There you go. You see that you left a bubble in there? Make sure that you spread it out so that way it cooks properly.
This is the most comforting smell to me.
Yes.
Like growing up as a child and even now it's...
We've always been surrounded by tortillas, friends. So if you see the color starting to change, you know, you go from the white to the doughy. So my comal, my cast iron, I know the temperature heats up in certain areas differently. So now I'm ready to turn. And press those bubbles as they start coming up, because if you don't start pressing it, when you turn it over, you're going to get cracks like this one all over your tortilla. And if you don't mind, like I don't mind.
But it makes it a little bit more difficult to roll up your
burritos, they crack, yeah.
Your breakfast burrito.
Yeah. Let me see. And once you flip it over to the other side, it's done really quickly. You hungry?
No, it's because I have some...
recording. I had some crappy coffee, girl.
See, our tortilla's done. I'm just gonna flip it over for about 4 seconds, and then I'm gonna transfer it into my tortilla rag. Excuse me, it's a towel. Es un trapo, mija. It's my trapito. All right, now let me show you why you want to place it from north to south, not south to north, and vice versa. For those of you thinking, how am I going to get these tortillas done in 30 minutes? Taking my time. Like I said, it's going to take practice, but once you get the groove of it, and I believe I have a lot of videos with great techniques for you, it's going to be super easy for you to get through it. Doesn't take that long. You got to connect with your masa. You got to connect with your tortilla. Make sure you're listening to some wonderful music. Whatever makes you happy, your kids' voices, your family laughing, whatever it might be, enjoy it, because that's how delicious these tortillas come out.
And no fears and no worries while you're doing this.
Nope. And if it's not in a perfect circle, guess what? It doesn't matter. It's all going to go into the same place, into your soul. Yeah, I get deep real quick. Boom, done. Ready? I mean, it can be done. I guess it's just technique, but when you're first starting off, start from north to south.
You just have more control when you do north to south as far as like not letting bubbles in and...
Wow, Cloud, I love those horns. Tell us, girl, tell us.
Well, I just find it easier that way.
Yeah, it is.
I fought my mom so many years on doing south to north, and then I finally gave in. I was like, she's right.
Yeah.
It's easier to control the flatness of when it lays on the comal.
I don't think you guys know the lengths I went to get the exact measurements for my mother's hands. I'll tell you guys later in one of our milestones, maybe. My mom was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you just did that. You know? I was like a detective watching her make tortillas.
What if I told you
Ooh,
the dreams on this comal?
Girl, yes. For those of you that are new to the channel, this is my great-grandmother's comal. And the reason I can throw down with some tortillas. You know, my mom did some hard work there too. All right, we're set. All right, friends, we're done. And I just want to make sure that you guys can see how thin they are. They're very light. They're soft. And remember, these are not fluffed up because this is not pita bread. These are tortillas. They're supposed to be nice, thin, easy for you to grab your food. Oh, I'm so tired. Nah, that was super easy. It's going to be super easy for you guys. But before you go, I want to give you guys a huge tip, okay? And this is a tip that was handed down to me by my great-grandmother, my mother. And it's very important for you guys. So what happens when you're using a comal, a cast iron, you produce a lot of heat in your hands, especially with the tortillas. You're in the heat. So if you go right to washing your hands, my great-grandmother said, don't do that because you're going to get arthritis. Well, too late. I'm already there. But you can take care of your hands. Be careful. So if you have anything on them, just dust it off. Wait like an hour, hour and a half before you decide to wash your hands. Take it easy. Forgive yourself because I don't want you guys to, you know, to develop any aches and pains. So, you guys ready for that taste test? Yeah? Cloud's just going like that. A ver, una tortillita riquísima.
Tortillitas pa mamá.
You guys see my face through here?
No.
No, there you go. They're super thin. They're very, very light and soft. So I'm just going to roll my tortilla up. I know you guys are probably like, Steph, you made this with the stand mixer? Yes, I did.
Again. I'm complaining
It's
because I'm eating all these
delicious.
tortillas.
Huh?
Again, te digo.
Again? They're so good. Look at. They're super thin. They're light, fluffy. Mira.
It's perfect to picking up some beans.
Yeah, for your frijolitos,
guisado.
your eggs, your guisado. You name it. Make sure you practice the recipe at least once a month. I promise you, after 6 months, you're going to be like, hey, who wants tacos?
Hey
Who
girl,
wants-
you got some beans around here?
I do. I'm actually defrosting some. You guys want to see? Let me show you. I'm dripping, so
Yum! I can't wait.
I have them ready to go at all times in a Mexican household, or else they're gonna kick me out. Friends, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today, for requesting these super easy recipes, and I have a lot more to come, so make sure you click that bell for notifications, subscribe, and share with everybody. And on that one, I'll see you guys tomorrow, because I have a really amazing recipe for you guys tomorrow that you guys are all gonna love, especially for those of you that love spice. So if you're watching this video, hello and welcome to the Views Club. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make 1 dozen tortillas with butter shortening. This has been a highly requested recipe for me because last time I made you guys do some work. Like, I'm so proud of all the people that made those tortillas. It is a very popular video here on my channel. So let's go ahead and get to it. Before we get started, I want to let you guys know that this recipe does not have baking powder. If you guys are looking for a recipe for baking powder, I don't have one out yet, but I will if you want me to. It is not my favorite one to make, but I will make anything that you guys request me to do. So let's go ahead and get started. You're gonna need 2.5 cups of flour, and this is gonna be really important because I tried making it the other day with bread flour. I'm gonna throw myself on the floor. You don't even know the hassle to stretch tortillas with bread flour. It was, I had bought a big sack at Costco, which usually works for my other baking goods, but for the tortillas, especially with the butter shortening, it wasn't happening. So now that I've said that, okay, I had to vent about it. It was a struggle. Let's get started. Cups of all-purpose flour. I use the gold medal flour, and if this is your first time making tortillas, I definitely say pay a little bit of extra money for it because it's gonna make a difference and it's really gonna get you in a happy mood. All right, I'm gonna be using Crisco shortening, and this is the butter flavor because a lot of you guys asked me for a recipe with butter and with shortening, and with this one, I get them both done. I'm using Himalayan salt for these tortillas. I'm out of my other one, but one thing that I do want to let you guys know when you're making your tortillas, that you know how salty your salt is. And for some reason, this big pack of Himalayan salt that I purchased, I don't know what it is, but it's not salting enough. So I have half a teaspoon, and I kind of added a little bit of a big pinch to it. But on your end, I want you guys to taste your salt, and if it's really salty, go with half a teaspoon, and if it's kind of like, I'm not too sure, add a little bit of a sprinkle, because that either make or break the flavor in your tortillas.
If you had regular salt, how much would you put in there?
It's half a teaspoon.
For sea salt?
For sea salt?
Or regular salt?
It's half a teaspoon.
Okay.
Because when I use the regular table salt, it's only half a teaspoon. But then if you're going to use sea salt, it's very coarse, so I can't give you that amount. I say grind it down, grind it, and then add it to your portion. But other than that, I think that you guys are going to be very successful with this recipe, so let's go ahead and do some work. First, your shortening and your butter, we're going to break it down with our flour. Oopsie. You guys already know me. Salt. So start breaking it down, blending it, incorporating it with your flour. It's okay if you get messy because this is going to go on our counter anyways. Shout out to my sister for helping me wipe my counter today.
Hello. I did some stunts today.
She's stunts. She's doing stunts, everybody. I'm very blessed to have a super supportive family. I know some of you guys were concerned that my husband just makes me cook and clean all day, and that's totally not the case in my house. I cook because it makes me happy and because I love feeding my family and I love sharing with you guys.
I'm so weirded out when you say that because Robert's such an angel.
Yeah, he really is. He's a
helpful.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
He is a sweetheart. Thanks, babe.
And yes, guys, he does watch every video. Okay, once you've incorporated all of your shortening in the flour, that's when you want to add your hot water. And your water is going to be as hot as you can handle it, but for safety reasons, I say keep it lukewarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my first cup of water and I'm going to pour it in. If your water isn't warm, it's going to change the dynamic of the flour. See, I already had 1 cup and 3/4 here ready, okay? But what you're going to find out is that when I use the bread flour to make these tortillas, I needed a lot of water. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my handful, that ends up being like maybe about 1/4 of flour. And you're gonna see that when you use the shortening, it's a little bit stickier, okay? But you're still gonna have to do some work for this little portion, guys. So start pressing it down. And once you see that it starts getting a little bit harder and tough, you just move some of the flour away. It's been interesting for me to learn to give exact measurements in portions, and just want to let you guys know that I'm here for you. I get the struggle because I face it with my mom for certain of recipes that she has, that she's created, and she's like, le pones de esto y el otro and this and that, and I'm like, ay. So it's work in progress. So right now you're gonna have your dough sticky. You're gonna be like, I need to add more flour. Don't. You gotta work this piece of dough right here. You gotta teach it, you gotta tell it what to do. So we're gonna work it for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to press it down, okay? Press it, and look at it, kind of just smears everywhere on your counter, and then you pick it back up and roll it. Press, roll. Press and roll. And if you guys see my baking or anything that I have to use dough for, you see me rolling here and rolling it over there, and that's kind of what you have to do. Listen to your favorite music.
Dance a little.
Yeah. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Take a minute to smell it. Divine. So, so good. This is one of those recipes, no matter in how much shape you are, that you want to huff and puff a bit, because that's how you know you're working it. Okay? Shout out to all the Views Club Junior, all the kids watching with your grandmas and your moms and listening and following directions. Good job, guys. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Okay, so once you notice that your dough is getting soft, really soft, give it a good squeeze, okay? Because we're gonna work it till it's not sticky like that. If you notice, I haven't added any flour to this. We still have it right there on the side waiting.
Your technique of kneading hasn't changed since you were a little kid.
It hasn't? The same?
Still knead the same. It's kind of cool.
Because I push it out and then bring it in. Push it out and bring it in. I just don't know why I get so much grief, guys, for not using baking powder. I get a lot of grief for not using baking powder, but I'm not baking my tortillas, so I don't need it. If you get to this part and you're still feeling a little sticky, just stick your hand one time, because it's not a lot that you need to get it together. I don't want you to just go and like pile a whole lot in there, because then you're gonna have something different than you're working with. You sometimes, like when you're adding water, you don't need that much, it's just a little bit. You guys saw that when I first added, I added all the first cup of water, and I added it because I kind of already know how to work with it. But on your end, before you add all your water, start adding it maybe 3/4, and if you get the consistency that you need to start kneading it, then you don't need to add any more water. So if you use club to be on the safe side, start off with 3/4 cup of water. Give it a good squeeze when you think you're ready, and if it sticks, come back, some flour, and give it a little bit more. I think that's one of the things that I had a difficult time, because when I first started making tortillas with my mother, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna be ready in 3 minutes just to get it. I didn't understand like the dynamic in here.
You definitely need to be in the right state of mind, right? Like have patience and...
Yeah, you really do. If you guys have a lot going on that day, don't make the tortillas. Like save it to where you have a little bit of peace and quiet for yourself if it's your first time making them. And listen to your most favorite music. Like your heart will beat to the sound of the music, right? It always works that way, and it translates into your food. So you guys already know what I listen to, but I don't know. You guys are gonna harass me. Some people don't like country, but I do.
I'm happy you said that. I thought you were gonna ask me to cue the singing or something.
Oh, right. Oh yeah, Cloudy. Oh yeah. If you guys see my food, I listen to a lot of Midland. I do.
You should go on SoundCloud and create a playlist for the Youth Club.
Oh, I should. Ooh, the cooking mix. It's good, but I need a little bit more. I know a lot of people wish like, hey, can't I just look at one recipe without having to do any details to it? The reason there's details in here, guys, it's going to vary on you. It's going to vary on your hands. It's going to vary on your water, on your flour. We're all connected and everything's moody, so we just got to get it just right. Oh, thanks, Claude.
Well, I was saying if your hands are dirty.
Oh, I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes making those 5 dozens, I shy away from it often. Okay, friends, I've been here about 6 minutes. I've worked this just to where I need it. You're gonna notice that it's a little bit sticky. It's not like when we first started, it's just slightly different. And we're dealing with shortening, butter shortening. It'll do that. Because we also want these to be super moist when we make them so that they don't turn dry for you guys. I think that's like the one thing that I can say that I learned, that like, why do my tortillas get hard? And I got a lot of those questions. because we need enough moisture in here to wake up that flour, hydrate it, and do what we want it to do. So make it into a nice little ball. Put some shortening on your hands, warm it up. So once you've smothered it with a little bit of shortening, you want to cover it, whether it be, it could be your kitchen towel, saran wrap like I'm doing, like this, and keep it nice and tight. So nothing gets in here. All we're doing with our dough is we're gonna leave it here for 20 to 30 minutes. You just want it to rest so that whenever we have to do our next part, it's smooth enough and it's functional for us. So I'll see you guys when I catch my breath and in about 20 minutes. We're ready to go. Here's what we're gonna do. We're aiming for these tortillas to be about 50 to 53 grams, and we're aiming to get a dozen out of them. So let's see how we do. And if you add up the little pieces, just tuck them in under so that when we get to our next step, we're not having any complications with our tortillas, okay? It's, yeah, my big old wild hands. It's hard for me to get them like really small, you know.
I really love orangutans, so me comparing your hands to orangutans
Thank you.
is a good thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. She's trying to throw shade, guys.
You're the one that's thorn, and you're using your hands like a hammer.
Okay, this is as close as I'm gonna be able to get for you guys. I have one tortilla that's 45 grams, the other one is 46, and the rest of these tortillas are 50 grams. So you guys are gonna have to kind of figure it out if you have a scale or by hand and kind of divide it into the portion that you need. I think a safe measurement for our tortilla is anywhere from 49 to 51 grams, and I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. So let's go ahead and get started with our next step. You wanna have some shortening handy and put some on your hands, okay? You wanna coat them so that while they're waiting, they're not gonna get dry, because they will dry out on you. So what you wanna do is you wanna make them into a nice little ball. You're gonna see that your counter gets a little bit of the dough and the stickiness from the shortening. It's okay, it's perfect. We have a family member that owns a tortilla factory, so I know how to make tortillas, guys. I grew up in the factory, like learning, hanging out with all the cool people. Probably where I picked up my potty mouth. If you saw, I just grabbed these because they needed a little bit of extra moisture. They're looking a little bit so just get them, get a little bit more of the shortening and give it a go. That's kind of what I mean. It's like you cook off instinct, and I'm trying to show you guys and help you build your instincts. And you're supposed to feel the burn about right here on your arms. So if you don't have the burn, bless your soul.
Or that you didn't work them right if you don't have the burn.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to really.
I'll say it. That's the sign that you are not kneading it correctly if
Okay.
you're not in pain.
Okay, there we go. Let me show you right here. If you guys can see that. Do you see those little on the outside, the little ridges? So that's why I'm going to come and give it a go. You can go fast, slow, find your groove. Woo! Pick somewhere where you can place your tortillas. You can leave them on your counter with sealed, covered. I'm gonna clear this out. So I'm gonna put this in my baking dish. You guys put it on your plate, your Tupperware. Looks like that. If I'm out of breath and can't function and think properly, it's okay. So I'm gonna keep them here. I'm gonna cover them and I'm gonna let them set for 10 minutes while I clear out my area so that we can work and stretch these tortillas out. All right, it's been exactly 10 minutes. It's go time. I know you guys are ready. So am I. I want some tortillas, even though they're gonna last like a second. So what we're gonna do now is, you remember this little pile of flour we have? You wanna get your masa, your dough, press it in on the side, okay? I start pressing that side like this and giving it a slight pull. Oh, I have some crumbles for my masa. Let me divide over here. There we go. So press it in a little bit of a pull, not too much. Okay? My tip to you is, it's gonna be a struggle or it's gonna be easy depending on your rolling pin. Lately, this one's been giving me a hard time. This little magic one, it used to belong to my niece. I inherited it from my niece and it works for me for the tortilla, so let's go ahead. Push it out. And you just want it to be like a long shape, like kind of smeared like this. Ready? Press it out. Same for this side. A nice stretch. Slide some flour under there. Okay? And you start. Ooh. It took me forever to get the round shape. Don't be discouraged, even if it's a lopsided tortilla, your family is gonna be happy that it's fresh. Okay, and sometimes when you bring it up, you can give it a little stretch to start shaping it. We did good today, guys. We did really good. You see that? Like even in the tortilleria, like a tortilla factory, like you still gotta give it a stretch. It happens. See? I think this one might need a little bit more on this side. So while I'm gonna be stretching these tortillas out, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my cast iron so that we can hit our next step, but I'm gonna make another one for you guys. Hold on just a second. Put a little bit of flour here so it doesn't stick for me. Okay. Press, press, pinch and pull. Or press and pull, right? I think this helps for a lot of you guys that are trying to learn to make the tortillas. If you start off with a small little batch, you're not as discouraged, like, oh my gosh, they didn't come out like my mom, you know, or like my tia, or whoever's making the tortillas for you. You're gonna feel a lot better. And then we didn't let so much go to waste either. So thank you to all the Views Club for requesting a smaller portion of the tortillas. And I'm going fast, but if you have to take your time to give it a little bit of a pinch and pull, take your time. I'm not trying to be a jerk and go fast so you guys can't see. I know a lot of the times you guys tell me like the measurements, it look like more. It's the angles. I don't ever want to give you guys the wrong measurement. My goal is for you guys to make good food at home, not to make you guys look like you don't know what you're doing. That's not the case for me. I want you guys to succeed in the kitchen. Okay. Get a little bit of flour so that I can lay it over here. And now I'm going to switch over to my other rolling pin. Keep an eye on your pan to make sure it's not smoky. Maybe turn it down just a bit. Okay. There we go. Yep, it was the flour, guys. The flour is going to be a huge, huge make it or break it. See, you want it to be long like that. It makes it easier for you when you have to make the roundness of the tortilla. And if you see mine, this one's not so round, and then these two are. I'm not even gonna keep up with this one. That one, I think it's too heavy for what we need. It needs to be a little bit lighter. That's what's going on with us. So get a light rolling pin. Alright guys, we'll continue over on the pan so that we can cook these tortillas. Okay guys, so whatever pan that you're going to use or a comal to make your tortillas, you want to make sure that it's preheated so your tortillas don't stick and everything works lovely. So let me go ahead and check if this is ready. You see it disappears quickly? We're ready to go. Okay, we're going to get our tortilla and we're going to drop it from north to south, okay? Do the best you can. And this is going to cook very quickly. You don't want too much smoke coming from your pan. It's just going to be the steam that comes from the tortilla, but you don't want it to smoke up. That means that your pan's too hot. You want it just right. On the first side, and then you're going to flip it to the other. These are done like that. That second flip, that's when I press down the bubbles. Please excuse my chewing, I couldn't resist, guys. Your first tortilla is never going to be the most beautiful. I'm telling you guys that in advance. Let's go ahead and drop it from north to south. I don't want to burn myself with this cast iron. It's usually easier for me with the other one. Please be careful, don't burn yourselves. And pick a kitchen cloth and just set it to the side with it. I'm going to keep on doing these with a little bit of music for you guys so that you guys can get the technique for them from north to south. The first side's going to take about 20-25 seconds once your pan gets hot, and the second flip's going to take you about 15-20 seconds. You see that a spot didn't cook, you can just come back and press it a little bit. Now you're set. Another way that you can tell is that if you're, because when you're making the tortillas, you can, as soon as your tortilla goes down, you can smell it in your house. If you can't smell it, it's because your pan's not hot enough. And if it smells like burnt, it's because it's too hot. You just gotta get it just right. All right, we're going down from north to south. Okay. I'm really not crazy about doing the tortillas in this cast iron, guys. I think if you pick your pan, pick something that's a little bit thinner on the sides. What do you call them? A griddle? Like a little pan that looks like a griddle, that'll work.
Something flat.
Yeah, something flat that doesn't have a ridge like that thick like I just picked for us. If you notice with this pan, it's difficult for me to keep the shape in a circle for the tortilla, so I'm going to go ahead and switch it off into my cast iron. If you guys don't like vintage old stuff, you guys can skip that part. Alright, I'm going to be back in business now that I have my good cast iron here. North to south. We're more likely to have a rounder shaped tortilla. And if I don't, I just feel more comfortable with this one. We're going to do about 20 seconds, 20-25 seconds on this side. If you guys don't like the bubbles in your tortillas, once they come up, you can press them down for this side. So that way they're a little bit flatter for your burritos and things like that. But if you're going to eat them to like grab your food and eat it that way, perfect. You'll see from translucent, it goes into more of the tortilla color that you're used to. And that's when we're ready to flip. I like, when I give it that second flip, I like messing with the bubbles and flattening them, so it's going to be up to you. Sorry if it's a little bit loud when I do that. And then this second side's only going to take you about 15 to 20 seconds. It smells so good in here, guys. I'm excited to see who's going to make this this batch of tortillas, because last time you guys were quick. The cookies, you guys were so quick. I get so excited. All right, north to south. Oh, that smells divine. Yes. If you guys are looking for a little bit more details on making tortillas, I do have the regular video. I'll link it at the end for you guys. I also started a linked playlist. I have most of the recipes that I've made for you guys to look through at the end of the video as well. Alright guys, that's it for me for the tortillas. I'll see you guys in just a moment, and you'll see that the hotter your pan gets, the faster your tortillas get done too, like over a period of time. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. Ta-da! And that's how you make a 1 dozen tortillas. You know what? This was a lot easier on my back. I feel like I can still go running. I can do what I have to do today. I don't need like massage. We're doing good. So let's go ahead and give this a taste. Which you guys already know I was eating some. Mmm. Feels like home, guys. They're soft. Let me finish chewing. They're really, really soft. The shortening gives you more of the soft tortilla. It's gonna be, depends on how much you stretch them. That's the consistency that you're gonna get. I'm ready for some beans. I'm ready for some carnita, some meat. What do you think, Cloud?
Beans, yes.
Let's give some to Cloud.
I'm not gonna see how many I had already, but thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Cloud?
Amazing.
If you feel that your tortillas were too bland, next time you make them, just sprinkle a little bit of extra salt in them. For me, my portion was good. I did the half teaspoon with a little bit extra of salt, and they came out pretty good. So I would like to know what you guys did for your recipe. All right, guys, that's it for me. If you guys are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please take the time to subscribe. If you're a Views Club member and you haven't subscribed, I'm gonna need you to subscribe. I have something special planned for our 100K celebration. It's gonna be up to you guys. I'm gonna let you pick between 2 recipes, and that's the one that we're gonna celebrate with. Also, if you haven't clicked that bell for notifications, it'll let you know when I upload. Since I really don't have a schedule, but I upload. But I upload almost every single day. Make sure to send me your pictures on Instagram and Twitter. I usually add them to the story, but right now I've been adding them more into the video clips on IG and also at the end of these videos. What do you think, Payo?
Good. And boom, done. We have some large tortillas for your burritos. Foldable. They're not gonna crack. Hello and welcome back to Views on the Road. I'm your host Steph, and today I'm going to show you how to make burrito-sized tortillas. If you've never seen a huge cast iron, you're going to be wowed today because I'm about to show you the cast iron you're going to need to make these big tortillas. Traditionally, we use a round comal that has a dome on top, which I do have, but it would be useless for me to make this for you guys and you guys don't get to use it at home. So I found something that's equally as good. It's super large. It's about 20 inches in diameter. And friends, Cloud is going to link this one in the description area. If you want to make big burrito-sized tortillas and you're a dedicated tortilla maker, you're going to absolutely love this one. It fits right on my stovetop, so let me show you. So in order to heat this big cast iron for our tortillas, I'm going to use these 3 burners. If for some reason you don't have the middle burner, that's okay. You'll be able to do it with both of the burners, but let me show you how I'm going to set it up.
There's a pea that got left behind in the
The peas?
from our breakfast.
We eat peas, everybody, and it's okay. So this is how I'm going to have it set up, nice and hot and ready for us to use in our home. You don't have to go outside, but guess what? You can use this when you go camping. You can use this and cook it outside on your grill, and it's going to work because it's actually made to use over a campfire. And I said cast iron? Ooh, it has my name written all over it. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Now let's go over the ingredients. For this delicious recipe, you need 5 cups of all-purpose flour plus extra for dusting,
Half a tablespoon of salt
1 cup of lard,
and 2 cups of water.
Let's start by adding 5 cups of flour into your mixing bowl. Add your salt, and with your whisk attachment, you're going to combine your ingredients. That should take you less than 5 seconds. Next, you're going to add your lard, and you're going to mix until all your ingredients are well combined. You'll find that for this large amount, you'll get some of your lard to get stuck in your whisk. That's okay. Come and help it out every so often and continue mixing. And when all your ingredients are well combined, you're going to remove your whisk and you're going to add your water. And now you're gonna mix until your dough is nice, pliable, and soft, and that should take you anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes. Our dough is nice and soft, and now it's time to take it out. And start making it into a big ball of masa, just like this. It's so soft and smooth. Ooh, you guys are gonna love this. Take your lard. If you're using butter, use butter, and if you're using shortening, go with shortening and lather it all over your hands. And you want to coat your dough with the lard to prevent it from drying. And with a damp cloth, you're going to place it right over your bowl. You're going to place this in the warmest spot in your home. And for me, it's going to be the oven at 0 degrees with the light on. You're going to let it set there for 15 to 20 minutes. And the longer you let it set in a warm spot, the stretchier and better your tortilla is going to come out. Our dough is rested. It's soft, pliable, and just smooth. Look at that. And you want to take this smooth opportunity to make a big, big ball. How big? Real big. So you're going to make them about the size of a baseball, not softball, baseball, because the dough that we have is super stretchy and pliable that you don't need to be extra. And with the recipe and the portions that I provided for you, you're going to get anywhere from 6 to 7 large burrito-sized tortillas. Take some lard and warm it up in your hands. And now it's time to start rolling to make our masa balls. And if you find it complicated with one hand, go ahead and do it with 2. Just like this. Muévelo, muévelo, que sabroso. Muévelo, muévelo, como lo hace. Finish it in the comments. Ooh, ven a bailar. Ooh. Same thing with a damp kitchen cloth. You're going to place it right over and you're going to allow them to set here for a good 10-15 minutes. And boom, done. We have a large tortilla. If I was you guys for the first time, try to stick to about 16 inches. And then that way you have a perfect fit on your comal. Same thing I taught you guys before, from north to south. And this tortilla is so forgiving that you can even lift it once you place it down to perfect it. Once you see the color change, it's going to be time for you to flip your tortilla. And this is where it comes in handy when you flip your tortillas by hand instead of a spatula, because you're going to be able to flip these tortillas a lot faster. There's going to be certain parts of your comal that are going to be hotter than the other. So once you flip it once, it's going to be good for you to go ahead and flip it again and kind of see what part needs a little bit more cook time. So I can see a part on this side that needs more cook time. Just going to fold it this way. A few seconds there. Another flip. A few seconds there. And now I'm just going to place it right here folded. And I'm going to continue with the remaining tortillas. A lot of you say that your tortillas end up cracking when you're cooking them. If you notice these tortillas, you're going to notice that they're cooked, but they're not cooked to where they're drying out. And that's what you need to do. You have to remove them. As soon as the color starts changing from the raw dough to the cooked dough, you would flip it, cook it, and then set it to the side. And then that way when you heat them up again, they're not cracking on you. So when I'm cooking them, I like to fold them like this. But for your sake here, so you can see some big tortillas. And boom, done. We have some large tortillas for your burritos. Foldable. They're not going to crack. And I can just keep going, but I'd rather much make you a quesadilla. I'm gonna warm up that side to produce some delicious heat. And if you're going to be making quesadillas out of these tortillas, I suggest you get a Costco size mozzarella cheese because you're going to need a lot of cheese.
You're using Chihuahua today?
You can also buy a few bags of the Chihuahua cheese. This is just perfect and it melts to perfection. Ooh. Well, I haven't said it in a long time, but DJ Giant Quesadilla. Oh, this is gonna be good, good, good. Yummy, yummy. Who's ready for a taste? Oh my goodness. This is a massive quesadilla. This reminds me of the time that I did a giant quesadilla mukbang. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments. It's really hot. Absolutely delicious. My tip to you, if this is your first time trying it, save it for a day off and it's worth the work. Once you're done and you know you can make a quesadilla and you don't have to worry about anything else, it's going to be perfect because then you can relax the whole weekend. Yeah? You can use these tortillas for your burritos, for your guisados, for any kind of Mexican dish, but honestly, I really do love these with the burrito de machaca. How about you, Cloud?
Bean burrito.
Bean burrito for Cloud, and for the kids, this quesadilla. And I'm a kid today, so look away.
I add some queso fresco and some chiltepines.